not sick, but he does have allergies and he looks like he's sick, so he didn't want to worry anybody. He thought as long as we have a quorum, he'll just stay at home.
Okay. We'll call to order the Town of St. John Board of Zoning Appeals for March 16th, 2020. And we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do a roll call?
Mr. Kennedy?
Here.
Mr. Popovich?
Here.
Mr. Sharon is absent. Ms. Woland?
Here.
Mr. LaRue?
Here.
Mr. Everly?
Here.
Attorney Decker?
Here.
And Mr. Panzik is absent.
Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of minutes from February 24th.
Motion to approve?
I'll second it.
We had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes, okay. New business, 2020-0003, Brian, me if I do this wrong, Sluter.
Yes, it is.
140 Spring Lake Road. Petitioner is requesting a garage size variance for a home he will be constructing at this address. Maximum garage size is allowed is 1,100 square feet. He is seeking a variance to construct a 1,233 square foot attached garage. Pertinent code section is on Chapter 11, Section B2 of the zoning ordinance. If you'd like to step up to the podium and
Mr. Chairman, all items are in order for this petitioner to proceed, and I've received no remonstrance, either oral or written, at my office.
okay, great. Thanks, Rick. Mr. Sluter,
Yes.
would you care to tell us what you got planned?
So as you stated, I'm looking to build a house at 10,040 Spring Lake Road. I believe you have a copy of the floor plan of the house. It'll be a story and a half. The garage will be rather large. But the reasoning for increasing the size of the garage, I had put a letter together, I don't know if you had seen it or not, but just to kind of summarize what I had kind of stated in the letter to you, is that the covenants restrict two main things. That is the reason for why I'm trying to make this garage larger. One, I can't have an outbuilding, a shed, or another ancillary building to store any kind of items that are typically stored in a shed, lawnmower, snow blower, any kind of storage of that sort. The other thing that the covenants restrict is that I can't have any kind of a recreational vehicle, boat, trailer, or any kind of a truck larger than a 3/4 ton out on the front of the property. So I'm looking to increase the size of the garage based on the covenant so that I can store anything that I have or would have in the future inside the garage. And the size that I've kind of laid out would be suitable for what I'm looking to do, mostly possibly, hopefully, one day putting a boat inside the garage. So that's kind of the main reason. The other thing that I stated in the letter that I had sent is that the plan has been submitted to the ARC of the HOA, and they have reviewed the floor plan, and they have at this point approved it preliminarily. I have to come back to them and give them the full set of drawings with all the details and so forth. But at this point, they've approved the larger size garage. The covenants state that I can have a 3-car, but no 4-car or larger. So they've approved that it's 3-car on the front face of the house, but it's just larger in the third car stall. So that, I think, summarizes what I am looking for from you and the variance.
Okay,
And all that information Brian referenced is in the packet that you have in front of you.
right, thank you. Do we have any questions for Mr. Sluter?
Did you know the HOA requirements prior to purchasing this lot regarding no sheds?
Yes, I knew the requirements. So when I signed an offer, one of the contingencies of the offer was that I would be approved on the floor plan, the preliminary approval on the floor plan that I had given to them. So before I actually fully closed on the lot, the ARC committee gave me the preliminary approval of the floor plan with the larger size garage, and that is when I proceeded to close on the lot.
And did they advise you at that time that that would require a town variance?
Yes,
And you continued, you still closed even though you did not have the variance?
I did, yes.
Okay. Do you currently own a small boat?
I don't. My father does.
And if you would buy a boat and the variance was denied, would you store the boat elsewhere?
I would have to, probably, unless I somehow fit it within the garage that I'm allowed of 1,100 square feet.
Okay. Rick, I guess this is for you. I'm not familiar of us. Has Three Springs, has anyone else from Three Springs that you're aware of? I'm not aware of anyone coming from Three Springs, or Paul, I'll defer to you as well, asking for a larger garage in Three Springs?
I don't recall one in the time I've been here.
Not specifically in Three Springs, but we've had a similar request where residents have come before us asking for a larger garage
Oh, yeah.
in an effort to contain things that are stored outside.
Like
And-
the RV, I remember the RV.
Right, we've even had detached garage recently down in Lantern Woods.
Inner Woods, and there's one also be in, I forget the other one, the guy who had wanted to do some, has cars. I don't remember, it's this last
Right.
past year.
Yes, that was over on Oakwood.
Oakwood,
So
correct.
normally, detached is really our bigger issue normally. This one's attached. That's one of the hurdles to get over. Mr. Chairman, if I may ask Rick a question, because it might be food for thought for the Plan Commission. What, in your experience as a building and planning director for many years now in a few towns, is there a particular process behind the number generated for the maximum space on an attached garage? Is there some kind of a logic or reasoning to that?
Not that I'm aware of, Paul. I mean, 1,100 square feet is the most you can have in a garage on a standard lot in St. John, whether that's predicated on a 15,000 square foot lot, a 20,000 square foot lot, or just what. I'm not sure what that's predicated on. If you have a 30,000 square foot lot or greater, you get another 540 square feet. That's
Correct.
pretty common. That was common in Dyer too. Dyer had, I believe, 1,000 square foot maximum, but gave an extra 540 square feet if you had a lot, a little bit larger lot. I think it's important to note that this does not require, if you were to grant this variance, it doesn't require any kind of variance for the overall size of the house. The house and attached garage is restricted to 30% of the square footage of the lot. This isn't even close to that. He doesn't need a side yard or rear yard or front yard setback to accommodate this. Fact of the matter is, he could have the square footage he has in this house easily, whether it was in any combination of garage and house
Okay.
equal to what he's got here. But I'm not sure, Paul, why 1,100 square feet was arrived at. Obviously, it's somewhere around 5.5% of a 20,000 square foot lot. But I'm not sure what the magic is.
What's the
for
square,
that.
and it's like, was it 21 something, I think, is the square footage of this lot?
Total square feet?
Yeah, I saw it somewhere.
It's a,
I think it's right around 20,000 square feet. It's 200 feet deep and about 100 feet wide. 87 on the backside and about 113 on the front.
It's R1.
yeah, it's 20,000
It's
square
our largest
feet.
Yeah.
size. And
Right.
as Rick stated, it's just interesting that if he had a 15,000 square foot lot, he'd be allowed the same thing.
Right.
So that's unusual. There's no moving scale between R1 and R2. I just, Rick, just for your notes, and I don't mind if they overhear this, I think we'll be visiting this, because we've had the same cause bring multiple petitioners in front of the BZA over the years of they're just trying to get things indoors. And,
Right.
and I think if it doesn't detract from the looks of the home, you know, it'd be different if you had 5 doors across the front, might
Yeah, I
might
think
change
with
it.
his design, the way it is stepped back behind
Right.
the third garage door, I'm gonna guess that's where that's lined. To me, it kind of just fits in with the way the house looks. And
Right,
there's-
so it'll be something we'll be visiting at the Plan Commission, I believe,
Yeah.
for when we review these things, so.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Anyone else have any other questions?
Just a comment for the board, I think in the past, when we have approved extension of the garage, and Rick and Paul, you to chime in again as well, just to make sure my memory is correct, because they're allowed 2, I know the HOA does not allow it, but the town will allow for 2 accessory buildings, 160 square feet, 190, so for 250 square feet. I think in the past, we have either made contingent an increase in the garage side, that they would only be then allowed 1 potential accessory lot, and I would reduce that to like 120 square feet, because then you're adding the 1,100 square feet plus the potential 250 that they allow currently. So what he's asking for is, I can't build a shed, so let me add it to my garage, but I would just prefer, I think we've done that in the past. We've allowed people to increase the garage, but then we pay some contingencies where this lot can't come back and add 2 more sheds at 250 square feet.
It's completely at your discretion.
But I mean, I'm just asking, have we
Yes, you
done
have.
that?
We've done certain things like that in the past, like when we approved I believe it was more when we approved a detached garage, that it would replace the ability to have any other standing structures. I don't know with an attached garage if we ever put that stipulation in, but I am positive that in the few cases where we did a detached garage, that we said, okay, that is your shed, that's everything, all in one. I do recall that.
I guess that's a question for you. Would you be willing, if this board agrees to the variance, to reduce your opportunities for only 1 shed right now? I know the HOA doesn't allow it, but the town will allow for 2 sheds, one at 160 square feet and one at 90.
It's actually 2 accessory structures, Brian. It's no more than 1 shed per lot, no more than 250 square feet of accessory structure per lot. The 1 shed is limited to a maximum of 160 square feet. So theoretically, as John said, if you max out your shed, you could have another accessory structure of 90 square feet, but it can't be a shed. You can't have a shed in any case. So you'd essentially, I think what you're asking is if he's willing to accept the 120 square foot, a restriction of 120 square foot accessory structure, if he gets this variance, is that,
Well, is an accessory structure the same as a shed?
no. No,
So
a
then I
shed-
should just leave it, should I then say, if it's contingent on no shed? Should
well,
it be,
You can make it contingent upon not having a shed. He can't have it by covenants anyway, but you can add that condition if you
and then he
like.
could still have an accessory building for 90 square feet?
He could have an accessory structure of even larger than that, John. He could go to 250
He
square
could
feet
still go to 2.
in an accessory structure as long as it's not a shed. Now, an example of that is a gazebo. Something that is a roofed structure is limited to 250 square feet. And you could have, you could have a gazebo, a pavilion, on the property, something that is roofed. But he wouldn't be able to have a shed. I don't know if he could have the kind of structure we're talking about in any case. You can see in this photo here, in the back, just off this house, looks like there's a gazebo on this house here. See if I'm sure I can zoom in on that.
Yeah, I don't want to restrict it to that. I didn't realize a
Yeah.
gazebo would be considered an accessory.
Yeah,
So I'm,
and he can't have the shed anyway, so it's
Unless they change their
covenants, right,
so-
right. I agree with what Paul said. I don't recall restricting I don't specifically recall yes, we did have an oversized garage attached on Acorn Drive, I think, a year or 2 ago. I know that in the detached garages, you have put in a condition that they can't also then have a shed.
Right.
But attached garages, I don't recall that being an issue with having an accessory structure.
But I thought I'm sorry, I'm probably making this harder than it has to be. I thought an accessory structure was limited to 90 square feet.
No, it's 250 square feet total on the lot between two structures, one being a shed, the other being an accessory structure of some other type. And a gazebo is an example of another type of accessory structure. So if you have if you have a 150 square foot shed, you can have a 100 square foot second
Accessory building.
accessory structure. So,
Okay. Any more thoughts, John?
I mean, personally, I don't mind the addition of the garage.
I don't either.
I
I
think
think
there's-
it's a great design, quite honestly, that kind of hides it and doesn't look like it's,
My concern is like the HOA could, I don't know if there's a daunting or a time frame where the HOA dissolves in 20 years, and then someone could come back and add another 250 square feet. Am I being petty? Probably,
If-
probably, but.
Again, if it gives you any comfort, Mr. Kennedy, I would expect that this limit may be raised in our zoning ordinance in the future, because it's a limitation that is perhaps unnecessary on an R1 lot. It might be able to have a sliding scale that an R1 is allowed more than R2. So, to make the property more usable as the third findings of fact,
right.
so.
Yeah, I don't think I personally don't feel like it deters from the property at all, the way it's attached in the design, I think it looks well. Even if we were to readdress like an additional structure in the future.
I agree. I think the design is nice, it hides it in the back and it's
Yeah.
not obtrusive at all.
You can see all those garage doors, it kind of looks like the house is all garage as opposed to, a home being there. Or that I
Yeah.
think
for all
pulls off
intents and
like-
purposes, this looks like a standard 3-car garage.
Exactly.
I guess I'm being bad cop today.
Have you ever driven by, my house?
Oh, my neighbor across the street, my two neighbors have it.
I
It looks
have
very
a-
nice. I wish I had it.
I have
So
a
maybe
three-car
I'm
with
just
a-
jelly that he's up here asking for it. I don't know. Yeah, no, it looks very nice. You can't tell. I don't know. Maybe I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, so.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Sluter? No? You can have a seat.
Thank you very much.
I guess the next question is, do we have anyone that would like to, what's the word I'm looking for? I completely just. Motion.
Well, you want to open the public hearing, even though we
Well,
don't
that's
have
just-
anybody here. You'll
Okay.
need to open it and then
Open the
close
public
it.
hearing for nobody?
Yeah.
Okay. There's no one here, so we're gonna move forward. Sorry. I just thought we
That's
didn't have
fine.
anybody here, so why bring it up? So, but
Yeah.
you're right. No one,
Then
they
then
don't
you'll
always
need
know.
to close the public hearing and
Close,
ask for a
close public
motion.
hearing, and you want to step back up to the podium again, sir? And I guess does anyone would like to put forward a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept Mr. Sluter's variance to build at 10040 Spring Lake Road, a 1,233 square foot attached garage pertinent to the zoning ordinance. Oh, that one.
Yeah, you can get that in your packet.
This one?
Yes.
The St. John, this one? Here?
You gotta go through the three.
Okay. Approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare of the community. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. That the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will not result in practical
And go either way.
yeah.
Will, I put will.
will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property.
Any contingencies or conditions you want to put on top of that, or no?
I do not.
Okay. I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those that approve, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Got your,
Thank you very much for your time and your consideration.
thank you, sir. Good luck with your building.
I've filled this
We'll do
one
that.
out, so if you and Mark sign this, please.
Number 7, discuss changes in rules and regulations. Do you want to do that tonight, or you want to push that to the next meeting?
We might want to wait till the next meeting when we
Everybody
have a
here?
full complement of,
Okay, so, do I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All's in favors? Aye. Opposed? No opposed. Okay. Public comment? Anybody for a public comment?
Congratulations on being nominated president.
For that, we're going to adjourn.